We are going to review the lesson number 13, Why Do We Fall Ill? This is the part second where we have seen the different types of the disease and how do they get spread. Means of spread of the disease can be explained here in proper way. How do infectious disease spread? Many microbial agents can commonly move from an affected person to the someone else in a variety of ways. In other words, they can be communicated and so are called communicable disease. Such disease causing microbes can spread through the air. This occurs through the little droplets thrown out by infected person who sneezes or coughs. Someone standing close by can breathe in these droplets and the microbes get chance to start a new infection. When we have had experience of sitting near a someone suffering from a cold and catching it ourselves, obviously, the more crowded or living conditions are, the more likely it is that such airborne disease will spread. So, we are going to see about infectious or communicable diseases and non-infectious or non-communicable diseases. So these are some differentiating point between infectious and non-infectious or communicable disease and non-communicable disease. Already we have seen that how they may get spread. So, diseases can also be spread through the water. So, they may be from droplet of infected person, it may be contaminated water, or it may be due to contaminated food or sexual contact. So, first point about infectious disease, they are caused by attack of pathogen and non-communicable or non-infectious, they are not caused by the pathogens. In case of communicable, the disease brought about by existing or external factor, that is extrinsic, and in case of non-communicable the diseases are mostly brought by intrinsic, means internal factors. Infectious disease can pass from diseased person to the healthy person. It means that from infected person to a healthy person. In case of non-infectious disease, they cannot pass from one person to other person because they are due to intrinsic factor. In case of communicable disease, the transmission of infection occurs through the direct contact or some medium like contaminated air, water, or the vectors. In case of non-communicable, the transmission is absent. However, hereditary disease are transmitted from parent to their offspring. In community, hygiene can reduce the incidence of infections and thus community hygiene mostly affect the infectious disease. Community hygiene is ineffective in reducing the incidence of non-infectious disease. For example, in case of communicable disease, cholera, tuberculosis means TB, pneumonia, chickenpox or corona. And in case of non-communicable disease, high BP, heart diseases means cardiac diseases, cancer, diabetes, etc. Thus, we live in an environment that is full of many other means creatures apart from us, and it is inevitable that may disease will be transmitted by other animals. We have seen the examples of mosquitoes or dogs, and due to which the infectious or communicable diseases can spread. For example, the common example is female Anopheles mosquito. The female Anopheles mosquitoes need highly nutritious food in the form of blood in order to be able to lay the mature eggs. Mosquitoes feed to be on many warm-blooded animals, including human beings. In this way, they can transfer the malaria, that is, from one person to the other person. So, common methods of transmission are the droplets from infected person to the air, from air to the healthy person. These droplet nuclei carried in air currents for minutes to hours, and large droplets settle to the ground in a few seconds. But small droplets of this infected person may evaporate to the droplet nuclei in the zone of the air. At the same time, common methods of transmission of the disease are from infected to the healthy person. How they may get transmitted? They may get transmitted by the direct contact or by shake hand, through the contaminated air, through the indirect contact means sharing of the clothes, sharing of the utensils, etc. As well as they may get transmitted by the animals like mosquito or rabid animal towards the healthy person. Now, how these different diseases can be treated? What are the steps to be taken by your family when you fall sick? Have you ever thought why you sometimes feel better if you sleep for some time? When does the treatment involve medicines? So, based on what we learned so far, it would appear that there are two ways to treat an infectious disease. These are: first one is to reduce the effects of the disease, and second one to kill the cause of disease. So these are the principles of treatment of any infectious disease. Based on these, one should be reduce the effects of the disease and other will be killing the cause of the disease. So for the first, we can provide the treatment that will reduce the symptoms. The symptoms are usually because of inflammation. We can take the medicines that bring down fever, reduce the pain or the loose motions. We can take the bed rest so that we can conserve our energy. This will enable us to have more of it available to focus on healing. So, in the first principle of the treatment, to reduce the effects of the disease by taking medicine to bring down the effects of the disease like fever, pain, loose motions, and by taking the complete rest to conserve the body's energy. This is the first principle. Now, how we can use the second principle of the treatment? We can kill directly the cause of disease. So how we can kill it? By taking suitable antibiotics, that is drugs or medicine. We can kill the disease causing microbes so that we will get complete rest and our body get covered. Now, How do we kill the microbes? We can kill the microbes by using medicines and when we seen earlier that microbes can be classified as viruses, bacteria, fungi, protozoa, etc. Each of these groups of organisms will have some essential biochemical life process which is peculiar, that is specific to that group and not shared with the other group. These processes may be pathways for the synthesis of new substance or respiration. These pathways will not be used by us. For example, our cells may make few substances by a mechanism different from that used by the bacteria. We have to find a drug that will block the bacterial synthesis pathways without affecting our own. That is what achieved by the antibiotics. Thus, similarly, there are the drugs that kill protozoans such as malarial parasite. One reason why making antiviral medicine is harder than making antibacterial medicine is that viruses have few biochemical mechanisms of their own. They enter our cells and use our machinery for their life processes. This means that there are relatively few virus specific targets to aim them. All of what we have talked about so far deals with how to get rid of an infection in someone who has the disease. So, principles of treatment we have seen, but another thing that we want to see that how we can prevent it means that how the principles of preventions are. There are three limitations of this approach to dealing with the infectious disease. The first is that someone has a disease, their body functions are damaged and may never recover completely. Second is that the treatment will take time, which means that someone suffering from a disease is likely to be bedridden for some time, even if we can give proper treatment. And third is that the person is suffering from an infectious disease can serve as a source from where infection may spread in the community. This leads to the multiplications of the microbes, and it is because such a reason that prevention of the disease is better than cure. So, how the diseases are prevented? What are the principles of prevention? There are mainly two methods. One is general method, another is the specific method. So here, in case of general method, there are again 2 points. One is preventing exposure against the microbes and another by boosting the immune system. Nowadays we have learned in the corona period how to prevent the exposure against the microbes. So coronaviruses we are preventing by putting the mask, by using the sanitizer frequently. It means that we are preventing to the exposure our body with the viruses. So a point in the general method is that preventing exposure against microbes can be done in the following way. For airborne microbes, we can prevent exposure by avoiding overcrowded places. For waterborne microbes, we can prevent exposure by not using contaminated water. For vector-borne infections, we can prevent exposure by providing clean environment. B point in the general method is by boosting the immune system. Our immune system plays an important role in fighting against the microbes that enter our body. Strengthening the immune system can help in preventing many diseases. So, proper nourishment or healthy diet that includes all the necessary nutrients as well as vitamins and minerals is necessary for better functioning of our immune system. Second method in case of the principle of prevention is specific method. It involves the prevention means directed against a particular disease. It is done by immunization, which is the process of introducing a weakened pathogen inside the body or half killed pathogen because of which the disease occurred in the host body to make his or her immune system to produce antibodies against that particular disease so that the next time even if disease will strike the host body with the full vigor the body will be able to protect itself with the help of these antibodies. Hence, the antibodies or antibiotics, these are the chemicals or medicine or the drug that block biochemical pathways important for bacteria. They are used for the disease caused by the bacteria. So, antibiotics do not work against viral infections as the viruses do not have their own biochemical mechanisms. They are using our body or machinery of the host body, but it depends on that of the host. How we can prevent the exposure of these infectious agents? The waterborne diseases can be prevented by always having safe and pure drinking water. Waterborne diseases can be prevented by keeping our surroundings clean and maintaining public hygiene. Second thing is strengthening the immune system so that if any infectious agents enter in our body, it can fight back against that foreign body or microbe. This can be made possible by having the healthy food or nutritious food. What is the immune system? Immune system is a network of the cells, tissues and organs that work together in order to protect our body from the disease. We may consider the immune system as a defense system of our body. The immune system looks out and destroys the disease causing germs in our body with the help of special cells called as WBC means white blood cells. These cells are present in the blood and hence circulate throughout the body and monitor it. The germs or any foreign substances that enter in our body are called antigens. As the immune system recognizes these foreign bodies or antigens, it releases antibodies which lock the antigens and then destroy them with the help of other cells. The ability of a body to resist a disease with the help of antibodies by blocking the pathways is called the immunity. Factors that determine the better health means which factors are there to determine our better health. We always stress upon the fact that environment surrounding us should be healthy. Otherwise, it may lead to harmful diseases. Therefore, we can say that the public cleanliness is an important factor for the better health of people in society. Another important factor for proper health is food. Now, we can have food only if we have the money to buy it, and for that, we need to work. Therefore, we can say that good economic conditions of society and employment are needed for better health. Lastly, we can stay healthy if we are living a tension free life. How can we expect a healthy environment around us if everyone keeps on ill treating each other? Therefore, we can say that a good social environment is required for better health. Of course, such can be done means all those factors social physical or mental, these all program can be useful only if such health measures are available to all children. Can you think of reasons why this should be so? We can now see that as a general principle, we can fool the immune system into the developing a memory for a particular infection. This does not actually cause the disease, but this would prevent any subsequent exposure to the infecting microbe from turning into actual disease. So, vaccination is the important for increasing our immunization. When immune system sees an infectious microbe, it responds against it and then remembers it specifically. Vaccination eliminates the infection even more quickly than the first time around. This is the basis of principle of vaccination has come into our usage. Many such vaccines are now available for preventing a whole range of infectious disease, and it provides a disease specific means of prevention. Thus, we have seen the principles of treatment as well as principles of prevention. The effective prevention of infectious disease in the community requires that everyone should have access to the public hygiene and immunization.